Welcome to my views and news. Some news stories from Ethiopia. Firstly, ये मेरे वो द जो Fano commander from Wollo from East Amhara Fano commander talked to a journalist. Phone conversation has been aired by a news source. And Mere Vodajo has sent a message through this phone conversation to top Amhara politicians, Amhara leaders. What did he say? Is this message a threat, a warning, or an advice? What did he say? Details for you. Secondly, viewers, another challenge for the Tigray People's Liberation Front. TPLF was banned in 2021 as a political party. It was banned. Then we saw that after Pretoria deal, Ethiopian Parliament reinstated TPLF and terrorist designation was removed from TPLF. But National Election Board of Ethiopia has refused to reinstate TPLF as a political party. What does this decision indicate? And TPLF's properties were also seized when it was declared a terrorist party in 2021. So, what options are available for the TPLF now? Firstly, viewers, Fano commander Mere Wodjo has appeared through a phone call on a channel. There he spoke with a journalist. Mere Wodjo leads East Amhara Fano. East Amhara Fano faction was not dismantled by Ethiopian army. Gajam, Gondar, Fano factions were hunted down by Ethiopian army officials last year, but Mere Budajo was allowed to work. He worked in collaboration with Ethiopian army, and in the third round of fighting, Mere Budajo's East Amhara Fano fighters fought in support of Ethiopian National Defense Force against Tigray fighters. But things changed after we saw an attempt to dismantle Amhara Special Force and to dismantle East Amhara Fano, other Fano factions. And we saw fighting between Merebodajo's Fano faction and Ethiopian army near Kobo. Later he appeared. He apologized to Ethiopian army and he agreed to disarm reportedly. Then Germo Ishitila was assassinated in North Shore zone of the Amhara region. Germa is a top Amhara Prosperity Party leader. He was a top PP leader. Government accused Merebodajo and Bletishigao, East Amhara Fano commander and North Shore Fano commander, that they were behind assassination of Germa Yashtila. Merebodajo denied involvement in that assassination, but Ethiopian army launched an operation to arrest him, to arrest his associates. We saw house-to-house searches in Kobo. Late night operation was launched a few days ago. Wadajo could not be arrested, but his family members were arrested. Around 24 of his family members were arrested by security forces. And in his interview, Mere Wadajo confirmed the arrests of his family members. He said his 3-year-old son had been arrested by security forces. Secondly, he talked about Ethiopian army, and thirdly, he talked about Amhara leaders. He sent a message for Amhara leaders. He said Ethiopian army has been weakened. It was destroyed in 2020 when Tigray fighters attacked Northern Command, and then after the war erupted. In that war, Ethiopian army was destroyed. Now, it is Oromia Special Force which is operating in the guise of Ethiopian army. And that those who remained, those members of Ethiopian army who remained, they don't want to fire at Fano. They don't want to fire at Amhara people. So that is why Ethiopian army is not a threat to Fano. Threat is Oromia Special Force, firstly. Secondly, he talked about the Amhara leaders, politicians, of course, Amhara PP leaders. He said, we don't want Amharas to be killers or to be the killed. Amhara lives must be protected and Amharas should not kill anyone. At the same time, he said that Fano fighters don't want to kill Amhara leaders. Had they wanted to kill Amhara leaders, they would have done that months ago. Why now? But Amhara leaders must realize that they cannot push Amhara people against the wall. So they must change their course. If they did not change their course, Fano could change its plans. So Fano's current plan is that it is not going to hit any Amhara politician. But it means if operation continues in Amhara region, and Amhara Prosperity Party, Amhara government officials, they keep on backing the operation, then Fano fighters could turn against Amhara leaders. That is what I learned watching his interview and after reading the translations. So he is basically warning, or you can say threatening, Amhara Prosperity Party leaders. The leaders should stand with Amhara people, not with the government, which is the government of Oromia Prosperity Party. The army could not arrest Mere Badajo, could not arrest Belet Shigao, despite large-scale operations in Kobo, mostly search operations in Kobo and North Shore. And if these Fano commanders are talking to journalists, it means they are in a good position. At least they have managed to keep their capabilities intact. Once we heard that Mere Badajo came close to being captured. He was surrounded reportedly, but somehow he managed to escape. Secondly, viewers, another challenge for the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, was declared a terrorist party after the war which broke out in northern Ethiopia. In 2021, TPLF and OLA were declared terrorist outfits by Ethiopian parliament. MPs voted and the two were placed on a terrorist list. Then after Pretoria deal, things changed and the parliament voted again and TPLF was removed from a terrorist list. And it was said that TPLF had been restored as a political party. So that is why after parliament vote, TPLF wrote a letter to the National Election Board of Ethiopia, NEBE. TPLF requested that its status as a political party be reinstated and that its properties be returned, because when it was banned, when the party was banned, its properties were seized as well by the government. Now, National Election Board of Ethiopia has rejected TPLF's request. NAB this morning told TPLF to file for a new registration and no word on the properties of the party. If party is not being restored, it means that its properties won't be returned as well. The properties will remain confiscated. So now the National Election Board of Ethiopia wants TPLF to submit an application for a new registration. Does it mean that there are problems between the federal government and Tigray People Liberation Front? Or is it just a minor irritant, a decision made by the election board which does not indicate any large rift between the federal and regional players? Difficult to say at this point of time. TPLF has several options available. This decision by the National Election Board of Ethiopia can be challenged. That is what I learned, that election board's decision can be challenged. And this election board is not independent. We know that the election board is under the thumb of the government. It cannot make decisions on its own. So it could be a way of putting pressure upon the TPLF. At the same time, I don't see any serious issues between the federal government and TPLF. The issue will be resolved in coming days, I personally believe, because the peace deal is being implemented. The two sides are very close. They're working closely. And one of the reasons is the tension in Amhara region. So that is why PM Abiy's government does not want to renew tensions with TPLF. Could be a legal issue which will be resolved, I think. I don't think it's a political issue. It's just a legal issue that there might not be any law available for restoration of a political party once its license has been revoked. But those who practice law, they always find a way out. So we could see a way out. Let's hope. TPLF is now a political party. MPs, Parliament has restored its status. That is why I think National Election Board of Ethiopia will have to make some adjustments. But we'll try to keep you updated. We'll try to keep this, we'll try to keep monitoring this important development. It's a very important development because TPLF was hoping to contest election going to be held in Tigray next year, announced by the election board, I think this week. So how can TPLF contest election in Tigray if its political status has not been restored? Before election, it must be reinstated as a political party. Let's see. Thank you for watching.